Joining us now to discuss and more is former ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, and Iowa Congresswoman Ashley Hinson. Ambassador, Congresswoman, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon.
Thanks so much.
Congresswoman Hinson, I'm going to start with you. The Biden administration keeps saying that our intelligence capabilities, which it refers to as over-the-horizon capabilities, will keep us safe at home. But this tragic drone strike was done specifically by our over-the-horizon capabilities. So where does that leave us now from a domestic standpoint?
Well, it leaves us obviously with a lot of questions. And what happened in Afghanistan with this drone strike that took out a target that was unintended, it was a complete tragedy and it shouldn't have ever happened, just like the entire situation in Afghanistan. So I serve on the House Appropriations Homeland Security Committee, and we are going to be looking into, how this happened, what happened, and we just need answers. We need accountability. And it really does cast some doubt on that. But I can't imagine, the situation that family is in right now. And this is obviously an absolute tragedy with what's happened in Afghanistan.
Totally agree. Ambassador Haley, I want to ask you about this from an international perspective as the former UN ambassador. How does this make us look to our allies? Because just yesterday, we kicked France in the face by this surprise agreement with Australia and the UK. France, by the way, in the last couple hours has recalled all of their ambassadors from the U.S. and Australia. They say we stabbed them in their backs on this deal without giving them a heads up. I mean, it seems from a foreign policy, perspective, the past 48 hours have been horrible for this administration.
Well, it's not the past 48 hours. It's the past 8 months have been horrible for this administration. I mean, you look at what Biden's over-the-horizon strategy is. Well, you get 10 innocent civilians killed, and no one has an answer for it. I mean, I actually applaud the fact that the U.S. is doing this deal with the U.K. and Australia. I think it's exactly what we need to be doing in terms of countering China. But they could have avoided a communications nightmare just by picking up the phone and calling our friends in France and saying, hey, we're going to do this. The idea that they didn't do it, it just goes to show that there's no communication within the administration. There's no communication out of the administration. It doesn't seem like our agencies are talking. And I don't know that we look more embarrassing in the eyes of the world than we do right now under this Biden administration.
Yeah, we didn't give France a heads up on this. We didn't give the UK a heads up that we're pulling out of Afghanistan or any of our other allies. I mean, this administration, remember, these were going to be the adults. But I guess, at least we don't have any mean tweets. That's the upside of all this. No more mean tweets, but we're just screwing up our relationships around the world. So, got to try to find some ray of light on a Friday.
It's so sad to see. But Congresswoman Hinson, I do want to switch gears to how you are both working together. You actually joined with Ambassador Haley in her Stand for America PAC to help elect more women to Congress, and you've already raised $500,000. How is what you all are seeking to accomplish different from groups like, say, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik's Elevate PAC?
Well, I think it's very clear we share a joint priority, which is that Congress needs more GOP women. I'm a working mom. Congress needs more women who look like America. And I think that's what our joint effort is to make sure that we elect more strong conservative women to Congress, people who are willing to look Speaker Nancy Pelosi in the eye and say, we're not going to let you steer our country towards socialism. We're ready to speak up and we're ready to engage. And so I'm talking with candidates, and I know Ambassador Haley's been so supportive of when I was running. She did that for me and mentoring me as a new candidate as well. That's so crucial that we do that outreach and we help build up these women who want to step up for the future of our country. So very proud to be doing that. I just talked to a candidate this morning, and it is, it's hard to run for office, and there's no playbook for how to do it, and you need that mentoring and that help. And so that's what we're happy to do, and happy to have other Republican women stepping up to run.
Yeah, I got to say, the more the merrier, right? I mean, this is something that we can't have enough hands doing. And frankly, when you look at the class of the last Republican class of members of Congress, there are some unbelievably strong women in that class that I can see in leadership in the future, or potential nominees in the future. But Ambassador Haley, I got to say, saying all that, I mean, you think of the women that were elected last class. They are impressive, to say the least. You chose to work with Ashley Hinson, okay? She happens to be from Iowa. Now, the cynic in me, I just happen to, I'm a political junkie. Does the partnership have anything to do with Iowa having the first in the nation caucus?
Well, I appreciate the cynic in you, Sean, but what I will tell you is Stand for America PAC has already endorsed Beth Van Dyne in Texas, Stephanie Bice in Oklahoma, Nicole Maliotakis in New York, Michelle Steele in California, and a slew of others. We have 127 Republican women running for office this year. And let me tell you about Ashley Hinson. She's a conservative freedom fighter. She's running circles around Nancy Pelosi, and she supports all the things I love. She supports farmers, she supports veterans, she supports small businesses. So we were thrilled to endorse her. And look, I'll tell you, Iowa grows some really strong Republican women, whether it's Kim Reynolds or Marionette Miller Meeks or Ashley Hinson. I mean, they're incredibly proud as women leaders for all of us to watch, and it makes me happy that I can boost them up. Yeah, they're the first in the country caucus. But, man, if that's what it takes, keep growing those strong Republican women, because that's what every state in the country needs to be doing.
Yeah.
We
like say corn-fed Iowa bread.
Well, Congresswoman Hinson, you know, the chances are looking good to take over the House in 2022 for Republicans to gain the majority. But looking ahead to 2024, President Trump, he is the 800-pound gorilla in the room right now. If Trump decides to run again, do you think others will run? How's that affecting the entire race?
Well, I think when I look at, obviously, 2022 is #1 priority. We have to fire Nancy Pelosi. We need to take the Senate back and restore a good check on the power coming out of this Biden administration and all of the failures we continue to see and have to talk about, unfortunately, every day. As you look toward 2024, you know, Iowa will play a role in that process. No matter who the nominee is, Iowans will come and vet those candidates. They do it to us as members of Congress. Up and down the ticket, Iowans expect that access to candidates. So I have no doubt that while we obviously have supported President Trump and made sure he was in the White House, we will vet every candidate that comes to Iowa. And Ambassador Haley knows that. Anyone who comes to Iowa, you've been at events for me, Ambassador, and you know Iowans have tough questions no matter what your position is here.
Tough questions, good pork on a stick. I will say that, having been to the State Fair, seen the butter cow. Ambassador, thank you for everything you're doing to help out others and take back the House in 2022. Congresswoman, always a pleasure to see you.
Absolutely.